All right. Episode number 71. It's
a lot.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Live Beyond Average podcast. Here again, the reoccurrence, Dustin, Luebke, episode 71. We just got done eating some elk burgers. We smoked them up today. Little green beans and rice.
Delicious.
It was good. It was much needed. Like the midweek, we both been hammering pretty hard the last couple of weeks. Haven't filmed much podcasts, so
No.
we needed to get together and catch up a little bit because we're always seem to be like texting and Snapchatting. It's like not the same. You always gotta catch up and like talk about all the little mini conversations you've had.
Yeah, the little 2 or 5 minute text threads, and
right.
Yeah, then you get caught up in something else and you kind of forget about it, and then you kind of just need to collaborate everything back together again.
Totally, dude. The summer's been insane. I can't believe we're already mid-July.
Yeah, for the heat of the summer. This is like when you start getting, we were just talking about this, you're just starting to get really amped up for hunting now. You're starting to count down those days.
For sure.
And it's 90 degrees out and 90% humidity.
It's been nasty. It makes really it tough to want to jump out and shoot the bow.
Yeah.
Because the humidity's been so rough.
Yeah, I jumped in the new bow thing this year. I was kind of kicking it around, and then I did it. And I'm really excited, but I haven't had the opportunity to get out and shoot much.
Yeah, you're finally all set up, and you're ready to rock now. It's ready to get it and start fine-tuning everything, right?
Yeah, and this is the time when, I want to be doing that. And I could go in, there's a couple of indoor spots we could go to, but I can also do it in my backyard.
Exactly, I know.
If it's not 90 degrees and humid out.
I know, we talk about that all the time because we have a couple cool little outdoor archery ranges we can jump to out here in our area, but like we talked about, I can step out of my backyard and shoot out to 110 out here in my backyard. So I'm like, I don't really want to drive 40 minutes, 30 minutes to go anywhere when I can just step out the backyard, launch 6 arrows, and go back to work or whatever it may be. But yeah, it's just the humidity has been nasty. It actually scares me a little bit because last September, during those opening weeks of archery, it was nasty humid too. Just sweat like crazy. So I hate that.
Hike out to your spot and then you're sitting there sweating, and the mosquitoes were awful. And
dude, they're bad this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to stay that way.
It is. It's going to be the early season until we get some cold, man. It's going to be persevere through some of the Mother Nature's worsts, I think.
Almost like bear hunting or something with the bug nets.
Yep. Well, like you said, too, like we're getting to that time of year where you're really starting to count down the days, look forward to it. I agree. I went through this little lull from when I drew New Mexico elk and sheep to now. I went through a couple months from I really wasn't all that amped. I've been training hard.
Yep.
That elk tag made me really step up my game training, but everything else, excitement, I haven't really, it's just kind of been meh, haven't thought too much about it. And finally, we were eating lunch, and I'm like, dude, I'm finally getting excited.
Yeah.
Excited for those early mornings, getting up to travel. I think part of it's just just have a little fatigue from the last 6 seasons of just knowing the workload that comes here in a few months. But I love it so much, and then I'm finally starting to get jacked up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, what'd you get? You got a new bow this year. You're setting her up, about ready to fine-tune. Let's talk about that. What'd you get?
So I went with the Matthews Vertex. I've been a Matthews guy
ever since I've known you.
Yep, my whole life.
Since the start?
Yep. Yeah, last 20 years. My buddy...
You're old.
Yeah. Yeah, getting there. My buddy Trav worked at a bait shop and archery shop. And he's a Matthews guy, and he got me in there shooting, and it was... hook, line, and sinker. You didn't even have to set the hook. I just bit right away. And, so then I went with the Matthews this year. And I basically, I had a rough 2017. I missed 3 mule deer.
Probably should get rid of that Matthews.
Nah.
I'm just kidding. Okay.
So I had some bad bow juju.
Sure, yeah.
And it was... I really was limiting myself because I only had a 60-yard pin.
Okay.
The new big craze is shooting, way out long distance.
Yeah, being able to practice those 100-yarders.
Right, to make the 60-yarders easy.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, I missed one at 68, missed one at 62. First time I ever had a deer jump up out of a bed and jump my string. That was pretty interesting.
Crazy. Yeah.
Hit pretty much right where I was aiming.
Yeah.
And saw it in the dirt on the other side. And
such a bummer.
Sprung up out of there. But, yeah, so I ended up going with a 5-pin. And then the 3 bottom pins are micro pins.
Okay.
And it's a slider as well.
Awesome. So you got your so you'll be part of what you'll be doing, or what you've already done some of this, getting the sight tape on, the right sight tapes and stuff.
Yep. I'm still in the process of getting that right sight tape on there.
Okay.
Basically, kind of keep them grouped in. I got my speed down, that chronoed, so there's that part of it. But sight tape isn't quite as accurate as what I was doing.
Dude, I found that when I was doing mine too.
So the guy told me just to put a sticky note on there.
Yep.
And sight it in on that sticky note, and then find the sight tape that matches it.
That's a good call.
And I'm got it narrowed down to a couple now, so getting closer to putting that actual sight tape on there
for sure.
But yeah, I did that different stabilizer.
Okay. What did you rock for stabilizer? Do you remember?
I just had the Matthews stabilizer, the 8-inch.
Yep.
I looked at the guys doing like the dual stabilizer, the front and side.
Yeah, like is it Bee Stinger that makes those? Am I right on that?
There's
maybe
a bunch of
brands,
different
probably.
ones now.
Okay.
And I kind of tossed it up back and forth.
Yeah.
And I just went kind of what I was used to. I wasn't going to switch everything.
That's funny because I looked at that same option and I went against it just because of the extra weight. Like I do, so many of my hunts aren't just like hangout hunts. They're it's a lot of walking and carrying. Yeah, I opted not to just to save the extra weight, and I know I can probably be shunned for this just because like, oh, it's only 8 more ounces or whatever. I'm just not used to it, and I just didn't care for the extra weight, the extra stuff hanging off my bow. I do a lot of crawling around for our mule deer hunting and a lot of archery elk hunts, and I don't know. The plus minus to me wasn't quite there. Doesn't mean I'm not open to trying it though.
Right. And then I also looked at different quiver setups too. I know a lot of the Western guys are running like a side mount quiver.
Yeah, like the quivalizer. Is that what the one that kicks out front, right, where your arrows are coming out?
Yeah, so it's basically like a stabilizer and a quiver all in one.
I'm intrigued by that.
I looked at it. It just looked goofy to haul.
Did you look at the price?
Around. Yeah.
That's it wasn't the goofiness to carry it around for me. It was the price that scared me away, I guess, more or less than anything.
Yeah, I don't think I could justify that one. But
yeah,
it just looked awkward. And I've been, probably the last 4 or 5 years, I've kept my quiver on when I'm shooting.
Okay, yep.
I used to take it off and hang it in a tree stand or put it in my pack. And these last few years, I've just kept it on when I practice and when I'm out hunting. And that's just one of the ways that I've
well, you're just kind of like, so you're thinking basically more or less like, I'm going to be in that situation where I'm going to have to leave it on anyway, so I'm just going to train with it on kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like and train how you shoot? Is that your mindset there?
Yep. And I went after, this probably 2 years ago, went after a mule deer, and I had a buddy of mine out there, and we did the same thing. We kind of dropped our packs. We went 2 different ways in case one went out this way, one went out, if we had both escape routes.
Okay.
And I was going to take the route to get the first shot. And I got in there, and I shot, and that was the one where he jumped the string. Well, I had another arrow, so I knocked another arrow, and I was able to draw. I didn't get that shot. But the buddy that I was with, he only had 1 arrow. He didn't shoot, and he's like, oh, I would have had 1 arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, a little bit. But, his pack was only probably 50 or 60 yards away, but still.
You're not getting back to it before, you know what I mean?
No. So yeah, I practiced mine. That also got me one time when it was really windy out. I probably should have took it off.
Yeah.
I was getting some pretty good side wind pushing on me a little bit. I probably should have took it off that, just catching more wind.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yep. Yeah, I do both. I shoot with it on and shoot with it off. Just like if I have a chance to take it off when I'm out on a spot and stock, like I'll leave it on the whole stock. Mm-hmm. But once I get like within range, I just have mine's a little flip, unconnect, and I can just unconnect, lay on the ground, so my arrows are still there, and then I can rise up for the draw. I've done that.
Sure.
I've killed 2 mule deer doing that with my setup, and then my elk that I killed right here behind me, I actually left it on. Just because, it came in so fast. So I think in the moment, like I think we can, when we're training, like we like to be really analytical of ourselves. I know I am. I'm like almost too much where it's a detriment. And we talk about that all the time, how it's like, yeah, I love the thought of going out and shooting 100 arrows every night, but I'm like, I actually become, for me, not as good as a shooter. Like I seem like I critique myself so much, and then I don't shoot as well.
Right.
So like I have to limit actually how much I'm shooting. I'd rather get quality arrows in and just be locked in with my form. And so it kind of goes down to that same thing. I think we can be over analytical on even how we practice. Like, should I always have this off? I have to leave it on, or am I going to be able to make that shot? When it's like, when it comes down to it and you're gaming, like I always consider myself like my buddy Devin, he's on the podcast. We're always like, yeah, we're probably more or less gamers than we are shooters. Like I could probably go out and shoot with a lot of guys, and I'd be outshot target practicing. Like if I go to 3D, I'm probably going to be outshot.
Right. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I feel like out in the field hunting, like I'm confident there. I'm like, yeah, I consider myself more of a gamer than a practicer, I guess. You know.
Yeah.
So I think don't know. I think we can be over analytical with our practice sometimes. And that comes from a guy who I like everything like locked in.
Yeah, I'm kind of a perfectionist that way too.
Yes. Yes.
I've kind of transitioned a little bit more on less on, okay, I got to get 100 shots in tonight. Mm-hmm. And like I started doing some stuff. I wanted to get like 10 shots kneeling.
Okay.
I didn't realize when you're spotting and stocking, I didn't realize how many times I was going to be being on my knees shooting, whether it be crouched down, rising up on my knees and shooting, or just in different positions versus the prototypical stand there, feet just perfect, perfect position.
Yep.
So I started practicing a few more of those shots where it's not the perfect thing, or I'll move my target so I have to go underneath a limb.
Yeah.
Or there's a limb hanging, or I got to rise up over some grass. And that has helped me focus more on the actual target itself and, everything that's around you. Because when you're out there, when you're sitting in a tree stand, you got limbs, you got other trees. There's plenty of obstacles in there. If you're out spotting and stocking, you got small scrub brush, grass. Yeah. And, when you're practicing, if you're just flinging arrows in a nice, straight mowed path, it's not really practical.
Yeah, it's nice. You're getting practice in. You're getting that form locked in. There's definitely a time where we need to do that just to hone in. But then there's the gamer skills.
Yeah.
Like, at some point you have to practice the in-game scenarios a little bit.
Yeah. So I'll kneel. I'll actually brought a tree stand out there and lean it up against the fence, and then just reposition my feet on that stand.
Okay.
And just get different shot angles on that stand, so that you basically have your small, basically pedestal that you're standing on, but you're not always going to get your perfect foot positioning.
So you're just using it as practicing the foot position, the different hip angles.
Yep.
That's a really good idea. So you're definitely like a in-game situation type of practicer.
Yeah, it's more fun for me when you're doing that.
It puts you in the scenarios.
Yes. Yeah, I can jack myself up and put it right into that big buck walking in or whatever.
For sure.
Dude, yeah.
I hear you. Last 2 summers I've been using a little routine that I call like 3 per 10. So like I'll shoot 3 arrows at 20. That's all I get. And I'll go 3 arrows at 30, 3 arrows at 40. I'll back all the way out to 100. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I don't even get to 100. Sometimes I only have time. And I'll go 40 to 80 or 30, just depending on the night. But I just shoot. I feel like I really focus in and lock in with 3 arrows.
Yeah.
I get to see my groupings that way too. I feel like with 2 arrows you might get 1 straggler. You might, at the 3 I feel like you can see what your bow is doing. You can see what you're doing, analyze a little bit, but you're not building that fatigue. Like I can put 6 arrows in my quiver, but I feel like when I'm shooting that quick, all I'm doing is building fatigue, where 3 makes me slow down, have to walk to go get my arrows. I focus more because I only have 3 shots at that yardage. And so for me, it was like what you said, like how you're practicing really been helping you. For me, it was like that slowing down and getting my 3 per 10, 3 per 10 yards kind of thing. And some nights I'll do offset yardage where I'm doing, 13, 23, 33, those kind of things. And then other nights I just go shoot, but that 3 per 10 has been huge help for my mentality. I think I think for archery, that's for me is the strongest, biggest thing I needed to work on was just the mentality of it and not letting every little thing get to me.
Yeah.
Switching releases. So when I did a whole new setup 2 years ago, and I can't believe I thought I was going to just update after I got a new obsession, the M6Z that year, and freaking loaded my favorite bow ever shot. I shot all bear before that. Like first bow was a bear, like you said, like first bow was the Matthews. I was super partial to bear. Same thing happened to me where I went through this dry spell, had some missed shots, had a bowstring blow off on me on a drawback on a deer, like just some weird bad juju with the bow. And so my wife was like so sick and tired of hearing me. She was like, go get a new bow. Well, I didn't have the money to go buy a new bow, and so I sold the bow I had, got a little money out of it, and I actually had some like Shields gift cards. And I went and actually moved into a Mission, so close to that, and it was the same model as like the Chill R. It was just a Mission model, a little bit less, like $100 less. Got a great deal on it. I shot it for a season. I shot my first bull with it over here in New Mexico, and then I was looking at 2 years ago, like looking into that more. I wanted more speed. I wanted to shoot 100, practice, and so I moved into this obsession, set it all up, and I same thing. Just felt like I had that bad, but just needed to move out of the bow. It's weird. It's like all mentality for me.
You
get locked in.
Game
it
is.
There. And so I switched releases too, and I went into a back tension release, which I had never done. I've always shot, the wrist strap trigger release since I was little, and so it was a big change. And I just think so much of what we do with archery is such a mental game. Like I was a basketball player growing up, athlete, so everything to me was like I felt like I had better mentality than ever. That was my way of, standing out, being better than the next guy was the mentality, toughness type of thing, discipline, and so try to carry that over into archery, and it's been like surprisingly more of a challenge than physical sport for me.
Yeah, definitely. What about like poundage? What are you pulling right now?
Dude, that was the other switch with this obsession was I was always trying to buy like a 70-pound bow if I could, and I always maxed it out kind of thing. But I just felt like the capabilities were never there, and then obviously the technology's gotten so awesome over the years. So part of what I wanted to do when I updated bows was I wanted to get bigger limbs. Heavier poundage limbs on it, so I special ordered this obsession because they made 80-pound limbs for it. So special ordered, got the 80s on there, maxed out. I think when we pulled it, it was 81.6 pounds. Definitely a different feel like the first week, but it has a really good let off, and the back wall is super solid on that bow, and so it was never an issue. Like I don't have an issue drawing that bow back. I thought it might be a little tougher than it was, but the 80 pounds wasn't an issue for me, I guess. And for my scenario and how I hunt, I'm not sitting in cold weather in a tree stand getting tight. I pretty much exclusive at this point in my life, exclusive spot and stock. So my body's always pretty well warm. I'm moving in on a deer. I'm pretty loose. We're drawing 80 pounds. And most of my archery hunting is done by October. I mean, most of the time, I've been lucky the last several years where I get my tags filled early, where I haven't had to hunt out with a bunch of clothes on. I've never had to pull that bow with a bunch of clothes on. That would be one concern maybe for me with that bow is if I was to hunt a December tag in South Dakota where I'm frigid temps with a lot of clothes on. That might be a little bit of a worry for me, but typically I'm done in October with archery, and I'm pretty warm, so. I've thoroughly enjoyed, I should have to say, more than any bow I've ever shot. I've been shooting bow since I was 6, just turned 31. I've enjoyed that bow, shooting it, enjoying it more than any other bow I've ever shot in my life. And so I'm really happy with the choices, the setup we made constructing that bow. At first, I was like worried just because everything was so new. It was a transition with that back tension release. It was a transition with finding. It was actually, I almost did myself a disservice going 80-pound limbs. I have a longer draw. I almost couldn't get an arrow that was heavy enough to not be like dry firing that bow, shooting an arrow out of it, without like going to a mega heavy arrow like you're going to go to Africa with. And I didn't want to go with that. And it was like, it was to the point where you had to get so heavy an arrow that it was going to detriment me from shooting faster anyway. So it was like I would have been better off with a 70-pound bow. So it was like finding that fine line.
Right.
Thankfully, I found some, full metal jacket that fit, that could handle the capabilities of that arrow. And it's like, I think I'm shooting 500. I might be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure because I've had this set up for 2 years now. But I'm pretty sure it's 504 grains total weight on the arrow, and I'm shooting 305 feet per second out of that, which is. That's a heavy arrow, breaking 300, dude. Yeah. Like, and I've had great success with it. 2 Muellers with that bow, and have been like quick deaths. That obviously that one Mueller we shot, the first Mueller I shot with, it was like we had guys on our film that were like contacting us like, "Did you shoot that deer with a rifle?" And I was like, "No, dude, you watched the live footage. We did not cut that footage."
Right.
Like I snuck up, drilled that deer. He took like bounded twice, looked up, and tipped over. And everyone's like, "There's no way you shot that with a bow." I'm like, "Yeah, dude." Like the blood on that was like an episode of Dexter, dude. And this guy, same thing, was like, shot him at 10 yards, boom, jumped on, dead. Like dead in 15 seconds.
Yep.
It was nuts. So I'm like, I'm stoked to have that kind of speed with that heavy of an arrow. That impact is powerful.
Yep. I'm at 70, which is heavy for me.
That is
used
heavy.
to shoot 65, 63, 65. When I was hunting more out of a tree stand.
Yep.
That was one of the things that I learned like over the years was I'd sit out there and you'd have all the clothes on and you'd start getting cold, so you're scrunching in and you're getting your heat's going to your core.
Yep.
And about the time like I was like, okay, I think I'm going to call it. I'm not seeing much or they're not going to make it to me in time. I would get up and I would draw my bow. And there was a couple of times where I just couldn't. I was so cold.
You do that.
Yep, I'd do this, and my muscles were just so tight and so cold. And I'm like, well, why am I even sitting out here?
Right.
If I can't pull my bow back.
Yep.
So then I cranked it down to 60, and I found that was good. And a lot of the guys that I've talked to that are the tree stand hunters, those guys that are gonna shoot probably a max of 40 yards out of a tree.
Yeah.
They don't need to be pulling 80 pounds.
No, not
up
at all.
in a tree.
They're good with 50, honestly.
Right.
50, 55 is.
Yeah.
Do the old Ted Nugent thing, man. I think he
for
shoots
sure.
like in the 50s, I think, all the time.
Yep. No, if you're accurate with that, you can pull that back as quick as possible, and they're right there.
And smooth and quiet,
right.
and aim when you're cold as heck.
Yes, that was really hard. That was a hard lesson.
Oh,
but,
for sure.
Thankfully I learned that one because I don't stay out there that long, or I don't get that cold, or I would start putting little hot packs on my back or something to keep my back warm if I was sitting out that long. And it's bow hunting in the cold. When you're in a tree, it stinks. when it's blowing and it's blowing you around. Ground blind, if you can get a little heater in there. That's all right.
Yep.
Late season, but sitting in a tree, freezing your butt off.
It's tough. Like go back to that mental discipline and
because you're trying to keep your feet warm.
Right.
You're trying not to get your feet sweaty when you walk in there. Then you got these huge boots on. And then you're throwing little hot hands down in your boots, trying to keep your toes warm.
Yep.
It's just a fight.
It's uncomfortable for a good reward.
Right?
Right. Dude, and that's where if I was going to get back into, I've kind of alternated how I hunt and what I hunt. Like if I ever get back into tree stand hunting or get an area where I go back to whitetail tree stand hunting, I honestly will probably just invest in a second bow. I know that probably, I don't know, it sounds dumb, but depending on the scenario, on how far, the type of area where I'm actually going to tree stand hunt, if it's one of those thick timbered spots where you're, like you said, you're not going to shoot probably farther than 40, 50 yards. I might just get a second bow, have it be considered a backup bow, and have it be my lower poundage cold weather bow, because I know a lot of guys go shoot 3D all summer, they have their bows cranked, and then come hunting season they turn them down. But I am just so like don't want to switch things, and it scares me that I just don't know if I could deal with that. And it's just the time part that goes into that too, taking the time to switch things down in case something gets goofy. It's just one more thing to worry about. Like I tap my scope on my rifle and I'm like, oh, I need to go take a shot through this, make sure it's still 0.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And like all my buddies are like Matt and Travis, where it's like, dude, like you can like hit those things, they're not gonna get off. I'm like, no, dude, I don't know. I felt like I moved that. Like I get super worried about my optics, my sights. Like if things get bumped, like I'm probably definitely overly cautious, and I don't know where that comes from, but it's just. It's my mental game.
Pretty cautious with my bow. Getting with that sight. One, it's expensive, and you know you're.
Yeah, what sight do you have? Like what brand is that again?
Gold.
I had the black gold too. So you got the 5-pin with the 3 adjustable, right? Yep. That's what you said.
Yep.
I did the 3-pin with the bottom slider.
Yeah.
So yeah, that black gold, like I like those.
It's
dude.
Really cool.
They're sweet.
And they had you can design everything, so it's the Black Gold Pro, you know, with the wing truss on the side, so you can slide it to where you need it to be to get your perfect sight picture.
So yours is even next gen from mine. I don't think mine it's not like that.
Just sent it.
Yeah.
I went all out.
Send it.
It was...
That's awesome.
You got on that website, and you can, like, build your own and change your colors of your pins, change the sizes, the colors. So I have... You know, the colors that I wanted, where I wanted them, and then, you know, they have like that micro .10 pin at the bottom 2, like 15, 60 yard pin, which are just teeny tiny.
Yep.
But when you get out there at those longer ranges, you don't want a big pin covering the whole body of the animal that you're trying to shoot.
Yeah.
So I did that, so I'm definitely protective of that sight. But even when you're out hiking around or walking through the woods, if you're carrying your bow,
you bump it on your leg.
Your sticks. I had a stick go through my sight.
Really?
Yep. Just completely.
Did it rip everything apart?
Yep. Yeah.
No way.
I was walking out one morning, kind of hurrying to get out of there. Yeah. One of those, I'm going to sit for 5 more minutes. And then you're on the walk out, you're like, I should have got out 5 minutes earlier. And stick right through the sight.
But you talk about things that go wrong. I mean, on this hunt right here, on the second day, I had on my peep sight, like I had like tiny string to lock it all in, tie it in there, and the same thing, got twig or something on a hike, ripped off that string. Luckily, I kind of caught it when I was walking, and like managed to re-tighten everything, and like I kind of like tied it off twice. But it's like you think about things that go wrong. You're out in the middle of nowhere, like, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, like that's where I'm like the least amount of things hanging off my bow. Like we talked about that, different options.
Yeah.
I'm just like kind of a minimalist when it comes to some of those things. Like I do have a 12-inch stabilizer on my bow now, which I've always done short. Mm-hmm. I do definitely shoot better with that length.
Yeah.
Like I know there's a new one out too that actually like it bipods out.
Oh really?
And so like it's like a 12-inch. And then it has just little twists that you kick it out, and you can go out to, I think you buy like 24 or 36 even, and you can bring it in and kick it out as wanted or needed.
Sure.
That's one that I'm actually considering on investing in, because then I can just leave it on the shorter end all the time, or kick it out to 24 on a shot. Like especially if you're mule deer hunting and antelope hunting, and you crawl in, you just kick it out for that long range shot, have a touch more stability when you go full draw. I think it might be worth testing out for a season.
Yeah, give it a whirl.
That's worth it.
Another thing we were talking about was bow slings. You know.
Oh yeah.
There's some guys that have slings on their bow. There's a ton of different companies that make them.
Yeah.
I've tried one. I saw a different one that was like more of like a paracord style, and it had magnet, and it like would just move out of the way on your bow. But I had mine, and I didn't use it hardly at all.
Yeah.
I used it a little bit, but it was just one more thing that on the bow.
Yeah. See, I've never tried one. I literally was ordering some stuff yesterday on Sitka Gear, and I almost bought theirs. And then I was like, I don't feel like spending a little extra money today, so I didn't buy it. But I've never used one. I've always been intrigued. I think the minute I will get one is when I do legitly go backcountry when I'm hiking out a long way is going to be out there for 10 or 12 days by myself, that's probably when I'm going to invest in one. Mm-hmm. Just because I'm going to take so much gear, and I'm going to want something just to throw over the back of my rig pack, and I can just let it hang off the backside.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what I'll probably at some point buy one and use it for, more or less than just my New Mexico where I'm day hunting. When I'm day hunting, I'm carrying it around. I don't really mind carrying it around. But if I'm a backpacking somewhere and stay, just because I'm taking so much stuff, I think I'll want it.
No, my pack has a little part where I can tuck the bow in and then buckle on, so I can hook it on my pack if I want to. It's just more weight on that back end of the pack, which it is what it is, I guess. I know I've got a couple like walking sticks. Do you hunt with walking sticks?
I've never done it. I've used Matt's before. We tested out a few ones that he's brought out and used. Surprisingly, really good. Yeah. Like, they're awesome for rough terrain. Yep. They help a ton.
Yeah. I've got a set. I used them like they literally were in my truck when I should have used them. Yeah. Just should have, because there was some stuff I was climbing that was some pretty good grades. Mm-hmm. And when I got back to the truck, I was like, hey, dum-dum, these are sitting right here.
You bought those.
You could have got those out, you know.
That's awesome.
But I know a lot of guys like the rough or rocky terrains, or you know, where you need more stability when you're coming down side hilling and stuff.
Yep. I don't think my dad would have got his elk out if he would have had those along.
Really?
I mean, it was nasty rock face that we were on. Like, he had a lot of weight in a pack that shouldn't have had that much weight, and we were one tripping it. Yeah. And like, he had his poles, dude, and like, he was able to rock it with those poles to stay stable. And he was 3 months after ankle replacements. He had a full ankle replacement 3 months after, went out freaking archery elk hunted, crushed one in the backcountry. Like, but those poles, dude, like, when you talk about stability on heavy packs, like, it's one thing just for walking, how kind of nice they are. Mm-hmm. Get a heavy pack, awesome, especially for rough terrain.
Yeah, lean a little bit more weight on those.
Yep. So yeah, dude, you're getting a third and fourth leg, you know? Yeah. You're just distributing weight and get off balance. You're catching yourself. They're good. They're good stuff. They make some good ones now too. It's super light, you know. And but there's so many, like everything. There's so many options. Like, I don't know, how do you choose? You know, you just gotta try some out and give them a whirl. We got a buddy's try them out on the day where he's not using them or something.
Right. Yeah, that's the same thing with tripods too, and bipods.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same type of thing.
Exactly. I know I'm bummed because I have a tripod I use and it's discontinued now, so I'm like lost a little piece on it this year, and I'm like super bummed because that's a discontinued one and I absolutely love it, but I have to rig something up on it or buy a new one. Yeah, that's another thing on the list I need to buy here in the next couple weeks. Everything's snuck up on me because it's already July, and I'm like, if I don't get stuff ordered, sometimes it's back ordered, and just snuck up on me this year, man. I feel like super behind. I got all my applications in. I didn't miss anything, but I just like everything else. I don't know.
Yeah,
sneaking up on me, man.
Speaking of applications, the archery for South Dakota has changed now.
Yep. Yeah, we have some dude. Everything in South Dakota, man, this year has just been crazy.
If we've been seeing like literally the hunting and just went fruit basket upset, and we'll just switch it all around. That's what the commission did this year.
Yeah, it's been crazy to keep up with. Got to keep up with it though. You got to know what's going on. You're gonna miss some stuff. You're gonna miss some dates. So there's actually application changes. There's actually some limited entry area.
Yep. The northwest part of the state.
Yep, we dropped from on average there was a little over 1,000 hunters using that, I believe, right?
Yep.
On average, they estimated.
Yeah, it was like 1025 is what they estimated, and they took it down to a cap of 625 now.
500 being residents, right?
Yep, 500 and 125 non-resident.
It'll be interesting to see over the years how that point creeps. Mm-hmm. But I think, honestly, what we're seeing with that is a test to them doing other areas like that in the state. I think we're going to see more of that in the future with... So the other thing that changed was you could buy an East River Indy Deer, West River Indy Deer tag in the past, or just a statewide tag.
Yeah, for archery.
Archery, but I don't know why you'd want to buy a statewide tag when you could just buy one of each and have two tags. But anyway, they changed that now where it's you either have an East, a West, or a statewide.
Yep.
You can't have two.
It's choice now.
It's a choice.
So your first choice, second choice, third choice.
Right.
So and residents it should be you'll get your first choice.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it's
Right.
like you just don't get two.
Yeah, you don't get
like
two.
you used to.
Yep. Which we've been spoiled in the past with that anyway.
Shoot. We were just talking, like Minnesota, it's $1 per person per year. So if you get your buck with your archery, with your bow, your gun tag turns into a doe tag.
Yeah, and I don't like speaking on things I don't know about, but I'm not so sure Kansas is the same way in the sense of it's just one buck tag.
Yep.
I think. Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think there's other states where obviously we've been lucky, very lucky to be able to have multiple archery tags in the past.
There's quite a few of our friends that have gotten 6 buck tags in 1 year.
Yeah, I've done it.
Just drawing that many.
It's hard to do. You guys are super lucky. But
and it's a lot of time if you're going to try and do it all. Too.
And when you do that, a lot of times they're not primo. Those last couple, you're not getting good buck tags. They're like last leftovers, first come, first serve. You're just snagging them up anyway. So it's not like you're not getting primo tags by any means.
No.
But anyway, back to the archery.
Yeah, the big thing was the non-resident hunters.
Yeah.
They're putting a little bit more restriction on them. I know there's, quite a few people complaining, but from our standpoint, the way we're looking at it, it needed to be done.
It's a good thing.
So South Dakota was kind of, the way we viewed it was like everybody's fallback state. So you have to apply for archery license in every other state if you're a non-resident, except for South Dakota. It was basically just an over-the-counter tag. So all these guys that wouldn't get archery tags in other western states would then just buy an over-the-counter tag.
And it's super cheap here in South Dakota.
Yes. Yeah, for what you're getting.
Yeah.
You're getting an actual...
A 4-month season.
Yep.
Over-the-counter.
Yep. So...
A lot of public land.
Yes. Yeah, and that was the thing too that changed. In 2018, the season started opening on September 1st, which kind of aligned it with like North Dakota and the other states where you can...
First year ever.
Yep, first year.
It's always been third week of September. You typically get 5-7 days in September to hunt, basically.
Right, and most of the time they're out of velvet.
Oh yeah.
By then,
yeah.
And now this you had the ability to possibly shoot a velvet deer. The first couple of weeks of September.
Yep.
What that did though is they saw a ton of pressure those first couple weeks. I talked to a rancher out where I hunt, and he said it was just a ton of
super
out-of-state plates, and he said it was like rifle season, and he just said it was crazy the amount of people that were out there. So what they've done now is out-of-state or non-resident hunter can hunt September 1st if they're on private land.
Right.
If they're hunting public land, they have to wait till October 1st.
Right.
So it gives the residents a little bit of, a step up in a month. But if a non-resident wants to hunt velvet mule deer, you can still find private somewhere to go.
Yeah, and their season of being moved to October 1st almost just goes back to 2017 when it comes to season dates anyway.
Yeah, they lost a week.
Typically what it always has been.
Yep.
So really not any changes per se for non-residents, except for the 1-year change.
And the other change
they
is
have
the
to
application
apply.
now.
Yes, there's a cap.
So it'll be August 1st. This year, deadline. So they can't just, if they, we're going to go to South Dakota.
They can't in October be like, I want to go hunt South Dakota.
Yeah, because they had that tag number out, and there was like over 1,000 tags sold in October alone.
Right.
So, and then, so it'll be August 1st this year, and then 2020 and on, it's going to be April.
So early.
April 1.
Nice.
So it's going to be early, like basically to match all the other states, kind of.
Correct.
When you're sitting there in your spring looking through your tags and applications.
Right. I think it's an awesome thing, man. Like, it needed to get under control a little bit. Quality of hunting for non-residents as well as the residents obviously should go up a little bit with that.
Yeah.
With that cap. I've seen a ton of extra pressure over the last 4 years in the areas that I hunt from non-residents. So I'm happy to see it just in that sense of everybody's going to have a better hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Should have a little bit better hunt. Residents should you have a little bit better opportunity early on. There's a lot of residents in South Dakota that hunt public land.
Yep.
You know, I really hope and I was hoping I'd see this year, was and I don't think they did it. Did they? The cap on Black Hills mule deer archery tags. I would really like to see that for non-residents out there, just because that herd's trying to recover, trying to build that herd mule deer a little bit better. I would really like to see, because that's where a big number of non-residents hunt, as well as out in the Black Hills. So I would like to see that get capped for at least non-residents.
Yep.
Maybe even in the future residents too. But like I said, I don't know how to answer that. I don't know if that's a right or wrong thing. I really love having the freedom to just go jump units, hunt around. I mean, it's a great thing we have here in South Dakota to be able to do.
Yeah,
so,
you don't have to pick a unit that you're going to hunt.
Right.
Or, some of those
you can
other
hunt
states.
all West River, all East River, or statewide. Minus the 35 unit now. So, I mean, it's a pretty cool opportunity. Who knows where it's going to lead to, though? Obviously, they're testing out the waters with limited entry units.
Yeah.
And my prediction is that we're going to see that go definitely more and more on the west side of the state, but I wouldn't be one bit surprised if we start seeing that and just unit wide across the state in the future. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Just
I guess we'll have to see how that.
We'll see how it plays out.
The herd management and the
Yeah.
type of animals that they're getting, and if they're getting better opportunities at them.
Yeah.
I know I talked to a couple guys that hunted out there, and they said it was ridiculous. It was just a highway of people, and there's cars parked all down the road.
Yeah.
So, like you said, they got there, and then there's 7 other trucks.
Yeah, because a lot of those in those little mule deer public land spots, they're actually, like, you can argue, well, they're big tracts of land, but for what one guy can sit in glass, it only takes a few guys to fill up a track.
Mm-hmm.
And so really it doesn't house that many hunters in a lot of those areas. So it's kind of a misconception. It doesn't take a lot of hunters to fill up a little small spot, So yeah, the hunting can get packed in South Dakota really fast, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because there is some spots, there's not much public land, and it's gone down in a lot of areas too. Spots have come off the walk-in acre program, which is, I know there's a lot of the areas that I hunt, there's been less and less every year.
Mm-hmm.
And the pressure's gone up and up in those other areas that nobody ever used to be where I was at, because of that. And now it's just more people are concentrating into smaller areas. It's part of it. Hopefully we'll see a rebound effect and get more acres open again. Hopefully the state will utilize their budget to try to purchase more walk-in acres and get more out there, but we'll see what happens. So Archery, we got a little archery talk today, dude. It's kind of where we stuck with. It's coming down the road, man. We're middle of July, September 1st open, actually August if you're going to do a little antelope hunting. So we're actually a month away from that. Who knows if you want to take the risk of getting some cactus and rattlesnakes by you for that. I've done it a lot. I hate it very much. It's so much fun and it's so terrible at the same time.
It's a difficult hunt.
Yeah, it is. So
unless you want to sit in a blind, scorching in the heat over water.
Yeah, I know, and I've never wanted to do that. And I have this little spot that I've been hunting the last several years for deer, and there's been this growing mini population of antelope that nobody knows where they're at, and they go to the same water. I watch them when I'm deer hunting, and I'm like, I get to the blind up there so easy and smoke one of those. And now I'm kind of like, I've never wanted to blind hunt an antelope, but part of me wants to kill one so bad that I just want to go throw a blind up there this year and try to kill one just to do it with my bow. And because apparently I can't get it done spot and stock. I've had so many attempts. I'm so over it. And so I'm like, maybe I'll go do that this year. We'll see if I want to go get a heat stroke or not. But,
I know walking 6 to 8 miles a day, just chasing these stinking things across the prairie.
You're getting me excited. I kind of want to go do it now. You want to go do it? You can be my decoy man.
Sure.
All right, I got a decoy man and a rangefinder man because Matt can't apparently give me the right ranges ever. All right, dude, let's end this. What's the question? What do we want to leave people with today? A little thought-provoking question. You got anything?
What's the big thing that everybody changed this year for their archery setup, or anything that they changed?
I like
their
that
archery setup this year.
It's a good question. So if you're on the Anchor app, you can actually just on that home screen direct response us. You can leave us a voice memo right there with what you changed this year. If not, just screenshot your screen and tag us on Instagram stories, anything like that. Drop a comment and let us know what was the big change you made, or any change at all you made on your archery setup this year. Awesome, you guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Live Beyond Average podcast. Share it with your friends. We really appreciate it. It always helps us from a small business standpoint. Every little share and listen and comment means a lot. It doesn't go overlooked for us. So we'll talk to you later.